Do the lower plants get less nutrients than the plants at the top? I don't think so, or at least it's not a problem that I've noticed so far. The flow rate on the pump's quite high. It's not like these hoses are just drizzling water in. It's doing quite a good job of pushing a lot of water through the system. So even though the pump's only on for a minute, I think more than enough nutrients gets flushed through all of these pots multiple times a day. I use clips to attach this larger, thicker 13mm hose to the lattice and make it go straight. Did I try using hot water to soften this, or like the other pipes, to make them more malleable? I did actually. I didn't find it did a very good job with the 13mm kind of coiled hose. Even when it's warm, that one's still not very pliable. The smaller 8mm hoses, I didn't need hot water to use them. They're very malleable to begin with. But I did use hot water on the hoses when I was attaching them to the little drain spigot hosey things. Would I upsize the pots as the roots grow? Yes, definitely. This one, or probably all of these tomatoes, actually the root systems are already too big for the small pots. But things like little lettuce seedlings, the small pots I think work quite well. I have made the mediums, which are twice the volume of the smalls, which is where these tomatoes are probably being transferred to next. And then I do have the larges, which are twice as big as the mediums by volume. I will probably make significantly bigger pots if the root systems require it. Is PETG a suitable filament for outdoor use, like this sort of full sun outdoor use, especially with water? I know that it's better than PLA. I also know that apparently ASA is meant to be the best for UV resistance. So far these are all just PETG because I know that it's food safe and it's filament I had, prints easily, it's quite cheap, a lot of benefits to it. These smaller pots have now been out in full sun outside for about 3 months, I think, and I haven't had any issues whatsoever yet. But it is something I'll be keeping an eye on. If the PETG deteriorates or becomes really brittle, or I have other issues or something, I would try a different filament. But at the moment, PETG seems to do fine. Is it just water or is it liquid fertilizer? I guess you could call it liquid fertilizer. It's nutrient solution, which is just water with a specific hydroponic set of like amendments that you add. Most of the time it's in the form of a powder and you kind of mix your own. But in Australia, the powder is very difficult to get. Most hardware stores like Bunnings and stuff isn't going to sell it. At least not the type that you want. So I went with a liquid version for now to get started because I could get it on Amazon. What I'm using is a 2-part solution called Complete Grow. It is liquid, which I've been told multiple times to avoid because in effect, you're really just paying for transporting of water. If you buy it as the powder, you get a lot more value for money. My original thought was to get something that's like readily available, something that I can try, see if the whole hydroponic thing works and see if I enjoy it, which is why I went with this. And my plan was that in the future, I would swap over to the larger powder, like a 10 kilo bag or something, which is pretty committed for hydroponics. It's probably over a year's worth of nutrient solution. But my thought now is that I'll probably buy one more batch of the liquid nutrient solution and keep this going for this full season, one full grow, with the intention of moving to a vermiculture or worm-based nutrient solution. So I would like to set up a worm farm somewhere or a couple of them and then use like a worm tea with seaweed and Epsom salt amendments, I believe, to make my own nutrient solution, but that will be further on down the line. Something I hadn't actually thought of at all yet, and that is that will these clip-on pots support the weight of something like a fully loaded and like fully grown mature tomato plant, for example? I think they will. I have like a 1.5 kilo dumbbell here, and I could probably put quite a few of those on here without issue. I don't really know how heavy a tomato plant's going to get. I am planning on using some 3D printed trellis clips to clip the tomato, like let's say the fruit-bearing stems of the tomato plants onto the lattice. But I think the clips will still work quite well for me. I'm not too worried about the weight, and that is because the weight of the pot is actually not really on the clip itself. The clip is sitting on the horizontal structure of the lattice. And so far I haven't been worried about how much weight it can hold at all. But we'll see how we go.